Lessons from Daniel. How Persia saved God's chosen people. Imagine being exiled from your homeland, watching your temple destroyed, your traditions under siege. For the Jewish people in the 6th century BCE, hope must have seemed very far away. Yet, in one of history's most surprising twists, their deliverance came not from within Israel, but from the vast Persian Empire. Through the book of Daniel, we discover how God used unlikely rulers and foreign powers to protect his chosen people, and how lessons from that moment still speak clearly today. A prophet in a foreign court. When we meet Daniel, he is far from home, a teenager carried into Babylon after Jerusalem's fall. To the casual observer, it looks like Israel's story has ended in tragedy. Yet Daniel rises within Babylonian and later Persian courts as an advisor, interpreter of dreams, and fearless man of faith. He is no longer just a refugee. He becomes a bridge between earthly kings and divine wisdom. This is the first lesson. God places his people where they are needed most, even in uncomfortable or foreign places. Daniel's exile was not the end of God's plan. It was the stage where God's influence reached kings and empires. Persia's unexpected role in God's plan. After Babylon's fall, Persia, under King Cyrus the Great, emerges as the new power. This shift was no accident. Scripture records Cyrus declaring that the Jews could return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. Ezra 1:1-4. Think about this. A pagan king becomes a tool in God's hands to restore his people. From this, we see another lesson. God can use anyone, even those outside of our faith or culture, to fulfill his promises. Where Babylon had enslaved, Persia liberated. Where destruction reigned, restoration began. Daniel's presence and faithfulness within Persia helped set the stage for God's purposes to unfold through unexpected rulers. Courage in the midst of power. Daniel himself modeled unwavering devotion in the courts of kings. From refusing rich foods in Babylon to praying openly despite threats of the lion's den, he proved that faithfulness is more powerful than fear. Persia's leaders respected this. They saw not only Daniel's wisdom, but also his integrity. His courage turned exile into influence. Here we learn, living faithfully in small, daily choices has ripple effects far beyond what we can imagine. Daniel did not know that centuries later, people would still read his story. Yet his consistency helped preserve God's people in that critical era and inspire generations to come. A bigger picture. God's sovereignty. The Persian decree that freed the Jews was more than a political act. It was God's way of showing that he controls history, kings, and empires. To those living in despair, this was proof. Even the rise and fall of nations bows to God's purposes. We often think power lies with politicians, armies, or economies. But Daniel's story reminds us that true authority belongs to God. Kings may boast, nations may rise and fall, but his plan weaves through all. Persia was mighty, but Persia was also an instrument in a divine composer's hand. Lessons for today. What can we learn from Daniel and Persia's surprising role? God works in unexpected ways. Help and deliverance may come from places we never imagined. Our faithfulness matters. Daniel's life teaches us that personal devotion in exile or hardship can influence entire nations. No ruler is bigger than God's plan. Historical powers come and go, but God remains sovereign. Hope endures even in exile. What seems like a season of loss may actually be preparation for restoration. Conclusion. When God uses the unexpected, Persia's liberation of God's people through Cyrus showed the world that even foreign kings could serve divine purposes. Daniel's courage, wisdom, and faith helped make that moment possible, shining light in the darkest times. The story is timeless. Kingdoms may rise and fall. Challenges may push us into foreign or uncomfortable places. But faith in God's sovereignty remain unshaken. Just as he used Persia to save his chosen people, He can use surprising circumstances today to move us from despair into deliverance. So when hope feels far away, remember Daniel. Remember Persia. And remember that the author of history still writes with precision and power, even through the most unexpected hands.